finally located Matt Watson of the Chicago Fire. Matt, welcome again to Red Card, my friend.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Pleasure to have you on again, Matt. The last time we spoke, you were a Vancouver Whitecap. You made your way over here to the Chicago Fire. How did this all come about, Matt?
Kind of out of the blue, actually. I just went to training one day for Vancouver, and then basically after training, I spoke to Carl Robinson, the coach of Vancouver, and he just thought it was best for me in my career if I moved over to Chicago. I already had a previous relationship with Frank Gallup. I was at San Jose on trial for a little bit early in my career, and we couldn't quite make it work then. But he was interested in bringing me to Chicago, and Carl Robinson thought it would be better for me to be here. He thought I'd get more playing time, and it seems to be that way.
Matt, fair enough to say that Frank Gallup is a player's coach. I've known Frank for a number of years.
Yeah, definitely. You know, he's very easy to talk to. He's very personable, and I really like him.
Matt, let's talk about that big result on the weekend here in Toronto against TFC. And it's great to see, I got to be honest, former TFC player, both of them as a matter of fact, but more recently, Robert Earnshaw, get that goal. How great was that for him and for Quincy?
Yeah, it was huge. You know, obviously, we've been having some bad form of recent, and you're always happy to see players score against their old club. You know, it's kind of just to show them what they're missing, you know, and obviously it was Rob's first game for us, and he's come off the bench and got a huge goal for us. So I'm very happy for both of them, you know, and I'm sure it'll do both them and the club give us a lot of confidence.
Matt, let's talk about the next game coming up against FC Dallas. Points are so vital for your squad to climb back up into that playoff position. You've got to climb over Philly and New England and possibly hope that those squads start losing a bit. This is a squad in Dallas that you're going to be taking on that you know are possibly a contender to win it all. They have been absolutely fantastic in that West Conference. How are you guys preparing for them?
I mean, obviously, you kind of look at their players and their abilities and see how you can stifle them. But again, it's kind of like you just prepare for every team the same. You know, you got to focus on what you're going to do and your game plan, and maybe just worry about maybe their strongest weapons, but concentrate on what you've got to do to win the game. And I think, especially in this league, that on any given day, any team can be any team, you know. So we're not going to go into a game worried about them and what they can do. We're just going to focus on what we can do. And as you say, it's a very important time for us. And, you know, we really need to get some points and make a run for the playoffs. So we're going to put in everything.
Matt, what's the difference for you as a player making your way over from the Western Conference now to the Eastern Conference? Is it the travel that has really been a surprise for you, which is a lot less, I would be safe to say? Is it the quality of play? Tell us the differences in your mind going from West to East.
Traveling has definitely been one of the biggest differences and one of the nicest differences for me personally. I mean, up in Vancouver, almost everywhere we travelled, unless we were playing against Seattle or Portland, it was quite the journey. You know, it's a few hours on the plane, kind of your body's all squashed up behind the seat and whatnot. And so obviously coming to Chicago, which is so central, going to almost anywhere is not that far unless we're travelling to the West Coast. So yeah, that on that side of things, it's been great. You know, I think the standards are pretty similar. You know, there's obviously New York, who have some great players, and plenty of teams with great players. So I mean, I guess the biggest difference is probably just for me personally, just the living in Chicago. You know, it's a bit of a different climate, different city. Obviously, back in America, a bit of a different culture. So just adapting to that has been a bit challenging, but it's been fine. My wife's obviously from America, and makes it a lot easier. So.
But I got to be honest, Matt, there's got to be also a big difference in some of the stadiums and the fan support here in the East compared to the West. You know the West with Portland, Seattle, and Vancouver. It's lights out when it comes to game day. Before the game with those clubs, during the game, the support they get, the noise they make. I mean, I love the East, obviously, following TFC and the other teams in the East, but there's nothing that can compare to those three cities. Maybe Sporting Kansas City can do it a little bit, maybe a little bit of Houston, but that's it. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously, as you say, the crowd can be different. I mean, I think I've been fortunate to be up in the Pacific Northwest, and like Seattle, Portland, and Vancouver have just these amazing fan bases, you know, and sometimes it can be a bit of a struggle in the East to reach the same, attendances. But I think that's like the Cascadia is something special that is very unique to MLS. I think anywhere else you go, there's not quite that rivalry, and the teams are not quite that close, which is probably why you're not getting the same amount of rivalries over here. So but I mean, the fans come out. I mean, we just played away in Toronto, as you say, and the fan support there was awesome. And there's always hardcore group of fans that really go to every game they can, and no matter where it is, there might only be 8 of them, or there might be a few hundred, but you really appreciate their support. And I can't knock the fans. It's a tough job being a fan. There's ups and downs, and just to see them spend their own money and their own time to make those trips. So you still play, you still have a group of people you play for, and I think it's important to appreciate that. Maybe it's not always the amount, we don't have the amount necessarily, but the quality is still there. So.
Well, Matt, let's talk a little bit before we let you go about the World Cup that just wrapped up. Germany is champions. England, Spain, Italy, Portugal, all sitting on the beach with margaritas, and the US of A still playing in the knockout stages. And I think that's done a lot for this country and MLS, because I don't know about you if you're getting any feedback from some of your friends back overseas, but I get calls from Italian agents overseas wanting to bring their players here now because they're starting to respect this league. What have you heard back from some of your old mates back home in regards to now MLS being taken seriously?
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. Obviously, America has made a good show for themselves, and I think the World Cup just brought so much attention to the US national team and highlighted a lot of their great players, and many of them play in the MLS, So I just feel like every year I've been here in America, which is 9, 10 years now, that respect for the league has grown so much. The respect for the league has grown so much, and I think it's just going to keep growing, As you say, like, bigger players are coming over here now from countries, and I think in past years, it's been kind of players at the end of their careers, and now you've seen an influx of players who are not at the end of their careers there. Maybe 28, 29, and still have a lot of good years left to play, and just having sort of players you see coming over, David Villa, Kaká, coming to the league is only going to bring more attention, and every year it seems like there's more and more of these kind of guys coming over, and the league's just growing in respect, and it's amazing to see, and it's great to be a part of.
Last point, and then we'll let you go, Matt. We really appreciate your time. But obviously, we saw in that World Cup, the world has gotten smaller and smaller in regards to now the big nations like the Spains, the Italys, the Portugals, the Englands are no more to be feared by the Costa Ricas and the Belgiums and the US of A's and on and on. In your mind, Matt, you said you've been living here close to 10 years in the US of A in North America. I've said this, and I truly believe within the next 2 World Cups, the USA can get to a Final Four. Do you believe that if they can somehow start to develop the creativity in that American player, in that box to finish, that they can get to that place where many European and South American nations have been, to a semifinal or a final?
Yeah, I mean, I think America, as you say, every year they've got a little bit better, and now, like, whenever I'm out, kids are playing soccer. There's so many kids are playing soccer and aspiring to be these guys who are playing in these World Cups, and that's only going to get, there's only going to be more and more kids every year joining soccer, and, obviously America's the biggest country already, so they're bound to, produce some amazing young talents. Not that they don't have it already, and I really think they can do it. I mean, the team spirit is unbelievable. I think that's one of the biggest things America has going for them, whereas the Spain, the Italy's, there's, a few prima donnas here and there, and it takes a whole team. It can't be a team of individuals, it has to be a team effort, and America have continued to show that. So if they can kind of up their technical side of game with their team spirit, I think they can be an unstoppable force, and there's no reason why in the next couple of World Cups we can't see them do something even more special than what they've done already. And I think it's just about belief, I think a little bit of what we talked about earlier is that, they didn't necessarily have that respect before, and it's just about them believing they can do it, and I think even this year, the talent they have is amazing. I think if, they can believe a little bit more, they can definitely do it, and World Cup, once it gets to the knockout stage, it's just one game, and anyone can beat anyone in one game. So it would be amazing for the country, though, and I'd love to see it happen.
Absolutely. Matt, as we let you go, we can't let you go without giving a tip out there to the youngsters. When you were growing up in the early ages, what were you doing in your spare time to get better and develop as a player? I know here in North America, so much distraction, so many things to do. I'll take it as an example, Matt. My son, today was a real stifling hot day, and I said to him, get away from those video games, get out there even for an hour and bang the ball around the wall. And he looked at me, he says, against the wall, Dad? I said, against the wall. What tip do you want to give the kids?
Yeah, I would say going along with that, I do some personal coaching, and I say to the kid, what are you doing when I'm not here? I maybe see kids twice a week, and I do stuff with them, and then it seems like when I'm not with them or somebody's not with them playing, that they don't play. And if you go to England or Brazil or pretty much any country, Europe, South America, kids are just playing on the street, whether it be in a group by themselves, but it's not necessarily organised. There's not a coach there. Kids just want to play. And I think, for me personally, I grew up, whether it was with a couple of friends or just by myself, I would just play football, whether it be doing kick-ups by myself, like you say, kicking the ball against the wall, practicing tricks that I see my favourite players do, everything, and any little touch you can get on the ball. It doesn't necessarily have to be doing something which is going to help in the game. Just getting touches and enjoying the game just breeds more creativity and helps your skill set. So I would just say always be with the ball if you can, as long as you're enjoying it. If it's something you want to do, the more time you put into it, the more you'll get out of it. And I spend hours and hours just by myself playing football, doing kick-ups, shooting at my parents' goals and putting dents in their garages until they're angry at me, That's the thing. So just play, You don't need anyone else. You just need the ball.
Matt, so great to talk to you again. We wish you nothing but success with the Chicago Fire. Hopefully you guys can sneak into the playoffs and make some noise. But again, personally speaking, Matt, it's great to see you having success in Chicago, enjoying yourself. And I'm pretty sure once you're done playing, and that'll be a number of years from now, you're going to be in the coaching ranks and we're going to hear a lot from you. Matt, again, continued success and thanks so much for joining us, my friend.
Hi.